The question that I'd like to ask today is whether the humanitarian system is broken, and if it is, how can we fix it?
No, I don't think the humanitarian system is broken. I think that it's in a period of change and it's evolving into something more holistic. I think that for a long time humanitarianism has been seen as being a purely life-saving agenda. We're seeing with the growth of resilience programming the breakdown of the artificial divide between development programming and humanitarian programming, classical humanitarian programming. And with that is coming a nuanced approach to humanitarianism, which is about being preventative as well as being maintaining a reactive capacity as well. And it's also about building on opportunities for development gains. So it's more about the shades of grey in the relief to development continuum, and I think that that's challenging classical dimensions of humanitarianism.
Le concept de système humanitaire d'ALNAP est un concept qu'ALNAP a commencé à travailler depuis quelques temps, déjà avec une approche historique, avec cette troisième édition du rapport. Je trouve que le concept de système se renforce. Alors là où il y a un système, il y a aussi un écosystème. Et le rapport le dit très clairement, l'écosystème se restreint. Cet écosystème humanitaire devient complexe, là où le système humanitaire devient gros. Alors peut-être il n'est pas cassé, mais moi je vois un éléphant qui est dans la salle, qui devient gros et qui devient de plus en plus incapable de pouvoir bouger. Et cet écosystème, c'est la salle, si on prend cette métaphore qui se restreint.
Well, I don't think it's broken. I think it's seriously under strain. And why wouldn't it be? So last year we looked for $20 billion, which seems like a lot of money. We got 10 billion. I think a very real life example to compare it to. People usually compare it to the military expenditure, but that's been heard so many times now. I think it doesn't hit people anymore. What I compare it to is the $20 billion a year that the Irish government spends trying to provide a kind of middling level of healthcare to its 4.5 million people. And so what we're trying to do is provide healthcare, education, protection, water, food to 60 million people right across the world. So why wouldn't it be under pressure? Why wouldn't it be strained?
One of the things that struck me in the report is we're actually looking at a humanitarian system that is essentially designed principally for short-term sudden onset crisis, whether that's natural disasters or short-term conflict situations. And what we're now facing, the bulk of the situations are as you said, chronic crises or conflicts that are protracted. And adapting to those new realities in a way that better serves the population in need is our challenge.
On ne peut mesurer les réussites du système qu'à l'aune de ce qu'on attend de lui. Et que, comme disait souvent un collègue, la meilleure façon de ne pas être déçu, c'est de ne pas avoir d'attentes. Plus on a des attentes élevées, évidemment, plus on va être déçu. Or, il me semble que les attentes du système vis-à-vis de lui-même sont de plus en plus élevées. Parce que ce système a endossé de plus en plus d'ambition. Du ici et maintenant, on est passé à la paix, on est passé à la démocratie, on est passé maintenant, dans les mots même de Michel, à changer de contexte d'intervention. Comment pouvoir envisager une seconde qu'on puisse arriver effectivement à modifier nos contextes d'intervention. Donc se fixer des objectifs de genre, c'est effectivement rester confronté à la réalité qui va nous échapper. L'humanitaire ne peut pas renvoyer l'humanité au stade qui précède la catastrophe.
And I was going to say there's an opportunity in front of us with the World Humanitarian Summit, but I kind of put a question mark up there because I'm not sure if it's too late, if we've missed the opportunity to use the World Humanitarian Summit to really lay down some markers about how to build on Amir's remarks, how do we deliver on the humanitarian promise that's implicit in the SDGs and make it explicit? Can the World Humanitarian Summit, or if not, what other forum can help us to make explicit commitments around keeping people safe in conflict and crisis settings, guaranteeing minimum levels of access to services, protecting people's rights and so on.
The humanitarian system, and I really like a line in the report, which I'm going to read on page 14. It's not fair to hold the system to account for a role far larger than it was designed for or could realistically be expected to play. But it does raise the question, should we perhaps design something else? Very good question. I think what the World Humanitarian Summit provides is an opportunity to review what our overstretched, underfunded, inflexible system can do. And proposals have been given. And there are only, in my view, two ways that it can go. We can use the WHS process and the lead up to it and the follow-up after it to have a turning point, to realize, recognizing that the structure we have was not created to bear the burden that we have, what do we need to do to be nimble? So that we have a turning point, make it more flexible to fit within the context and the needs and the priorities that have been raised. Or we can have a breaking point. And the breaking point is primarily where you see that we toss all care to the wind and we continue with the status quo. And in fact, the fatigue around coming together is realized and people just say, it doesn't matter anymore. Each for themselves and God for us all. So I don't know what the answer is, but we have proposed solutions. We know what the problems are. My hope it will be a turning point and not a breaking point.